What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, January 29th. This is the Fantasy Football Fanatics podcast, the official podcast of thefantasyfootballfanatics.com. I am your host, Griffin, joined by absolutely nobody, but that's fine. We're going to get through this show relatively quickly because today we have a lot of fun stuff to get to. Today we're going to be talking about our way too early mid-round values, looking at current average draft positions, guys we think are absolute steals or going for incredible bargains in the mid-rounds. Also, some of the top headlines from around the league. As always, if you're listening, wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe. We are a year-round podcast every Tuesday and Friday, bringing you the stuff you need to win your fantasy leagues. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Podcast Bean. You know where to find us. Also, you can follow us on social media at Twitter at the FF Fanatics, on Facebook at facebook.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. You can email us your questions to thefantasyfootballfanatics@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, help us keep doing what we're doing, head over to patreon.com/thefantasyfootballfanatics. Help us keep these lights on, but if you can't financially support the show, giving us a rating or review goes an unbelievably long way. With that being said, though, let's get into some of our top headlines from around the league, and let's start off with what was the Pro Bowl. If any of you watched the Pro Bowl, I think this year was an absolute showing of what it is. It's for fun. It is entertaining. It is not football. We had so many plays. And to be fair, it was raining like crazy. So this was not going to be an awesome game anyway. But these teams, they come together with players they don't normally play with coaches they don't normally work with. They have less than a week to get ready, and then they go out there and they play a game. So you're not going to see any crazy, intricate offensive schemes or plays. Defenses are going to usually play good cover systems, so nobody's playing hard, nobody's hitting hard. And towards the end of the game, we were seeing defensive players playing offense, offensive players playing defense. They were literally just out there having fun, which is, I mean, look, as a football fan, I really had a lot of fun watching Mike Evans go out and playing cornerback, getting an interception. Jalen Ramsey, cornerback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, catching a touchdown pass. Like, it's fun, but it's not. I like the Pro Bowl better when it was after the Super Bowl because it made more sense then. Because in the midst of playoff football, this just feels so incredibly out of place. But it was a lot of fun to watch if you knew what you were watching. Otherwise, it was just terrible football. So 26-7 AFC over the NFC. That was your Pro Bowl. If you missed it and you had a DVR, might not really be worth going back to watch. It was not much of a game with all the rain especially. Let's go to some other headlines. Quarterback position. Reportedly, the Washington Redskins are planning as if they will not have quarterback Alex Smith next season. Now, they did go on to say that if he is ready to go, that would be amazing, and they want that to be the case. But based on all the medical things we're seeing, hearing, and all the reports, and even people spotting him going around in these crazy leg cast braces, the expectation is unbelievably low. He'll be ready to start the season, much less play next season. So we will see, we will monitor, we will report, but not looking great. To running back position, Philly voices Jim Kempski, said that he considers Philadelphia as a potential landing spot for free agent running back Kareem Hunt. I mean, we've seen the Eagles take controversial players before, going back to like the Mike Vick pick and things of that nature. So I can't say that this is outside the realm of possibility. Different regimes, different coaching staffs since then. I'd be interested to hear CJ's thoughts on this, but CJ's not here. I'm sure he'd actually be probably pretty excited about it because we all knew that despite what happened, Kareem Hunt, being a young star in this league, would probably get a second chance somewhere, and he's definitely a game-breaking running back, a high-echelon talent at the position in this league. So I'd be interested to hear his thoughts on the potential. I mean, nothing's concrete. This is all speculation. But the potential of Kareem Hunt becoming a Philadelphia Eagle. And a bit of other news, the Indianapolis Colts re-signed kicker Adam Vinatieri to a one-year deal, meaning he will return for the 2019 season. This will be his 26th season at the age of 46 years old. Take that, Tom Brady. So the NFL's all-time leading scorer will be back for yet another season. And that's all the news that we have at this point. With that being said, let's move on to our topic of the day, as the title suggested. Look, this is going to be a quick show. Our way too early mid-round values. Now, these are some guys we just did our mock draft a week ago today, so we're still kind of in that mindset of looking at what's happening right now in the world of fantasy as we wait for the Super Bowl this weekend. Now, I went through and I found a couple of names. I found 6 names in 5 rounds that I am going to be monitoring closely. These are players that I think are undervalued, players that could break out, or players that at least have upside, and getting them where they're going could be an absolute steal, and if you wait to get these guys at the value that they're going at, you might be able to invest earlier picks at other positions and possibly scheme your way to a very successful draft. We'll start off with the number 77 overall pick, the 4th pick in the 7th round, Julian Edelman. Edelman is going as a 7th rounder, even though he finished the year as the wide receiver 23, so he's a wide receiver 2, and he missed over a quarter of the season. So this is just crazy news to me. I think Julian Edelman is an absolute lockdown wide receiver 2, and he finished as such. He has an unbelievably nice floor, being, a main target of Tom Brady. We don't know what's going to happen with Gronk, so I think that as long as Julian Edelman stays healthy, he is about as a sure thing as it comes to give you a solid floor with obviously high ceiling touchdown upside. So I would definitely be looking for Julian Edelman in this round. I expect all these guys really to climb, but I would not mind taking him a little bit early to make sure he's on my team and planning accordingly, maybe looking elsewhere than wide receiver somewhat early in the draft, knowing you can get a guy like Edelman in the middle 7th round. Another guy that stood out to me was the number 89 overall pick in current drafts. He is the 3rd pick in the 8th round, and that would be Green Bay Packers running back Aaron Jones. That's just crazy to me. In our mock draft, I took Aaron Jones in the 3rd round, and I felt good about that. Look, he finished the season as the running back 23. Can't dispute that. Running back 2. But he also missed a quarter of the games. Really, it was more than that. He missed the first 2 due to a suspension, the last really 3 games due to injury, and actually kind of a 4th game in there too because he got hurt early in week 14, I believe it was. And even when he was there, he still had Julian Edelman rotating, or Julian Edelman is what I just say. Jamal Williams, who was in there rotating with touches. Look, Aaron Jones made a huge step as a pass catcher and a pass blocker this season. I think he has made great strides to becoming a 3-down running back, and I think that with Matt LaFleur coming in, Aaron Jones is primed to have potentially a massive breakout season. I was willing to draft him in the 3rd. So if you're able to get him in the early 8th, or, obviously maybe around early, pull the trigger on him on the 7th, that's an unbelievable steal. I don't expect him to be there, but that's where he's going right now in current mock drafts, which I think is crazy. So keep an eye on Aaron Jones. Now this next guy is a little bit of a long shot. This is more of a believe in what the team saw in him. And I'm talking about the number 90 overall pick in current mock drafts, the 4th pick in the 8th round, and that is Tampa Bay Buccaneers running back Ronald Jones II. Look, he finished the season as the running back 99. He basically didn't play this year outside of special teams. I get all that. I also understand that he had plenty of guys who were ahead of him. Peyton Barber did a really good job. Jaquiz Rodgers. Look, it was Ronald Jones' first season. He really impressed in training camps. Now, I and Jason were both very much in agreement here that he was not worth a 2nd-round pick. But the Buccaneers invested a 2nd rounder on him, so they're going to try and get value back on that. He is an explosive athlete. He's very young. He now has a year of experience under his belt. Bruce Arians comes in, which is very good about getting these shifty running backs the ball, especially in open space, a guy who can catch the ball as well. I think Ronald Jones has the upside to be taken way earlier than the 8th round. I think he could deliver way better than the 8th round. Now, will he? This is the first one out of all the guys that I've listed here that I consider the biggest risk just because of what's ahead of him, but I could definitely see a world where Ronald Jones could be an absolute sleeper. I could see him falling in drafts, honestly, from here, and the more he falls, the better value he becomes because, look, you have to take a shot on these guys. Like last season, taking a shot on Aaron Jones being the backup, Nick Chubb being the backup, Ronald Jones, would be that guy maybe next year. They don't always pay off or pan out, but he could be that guy. I don't think Jaquiz is that much better than he is. Jaquiz just had experience, and Peyton Barber, Payne Barber has a skill set that I think worked well with the old system and being used as kind of a workhorse, but I think that creatively Ronald Jones could have a really nice breakout season next year under Bruce Arians, Brandon Leftwich, or Byron Leftwich, rather. I can talk. So those would be the reasons that I would be keeping an eye on Ronald Jones. Another guy that stands out to me, absolutely, would be New York Jets wide receiver Robbie Anderson, going as the 92nd pick, also technically averaging the 4th pick in the 8th round. Guys, look, Robbie Anderson, this is just kind of crazy to me. I understand he did not have a great season. He finished as the wide receiver 36, so he finished as barely a flex-worthy player, and he had a lot of weeks to let you down. And if CJ was here, he'd be chiming in on this a lot too. Robbie Anderson was showing amazing chemistry with Sam Darnold through the last 3 weeks of the fantasy season. They are starting to get on the same page. Adam Gase coming in, I think, will be a nice boom to this offense, quite potentially working with young Sam Darnold taking another step. Robbie Anderson being a real speedster here. Quincy Newton will be back next year, which I think will help things. There's a lot of reasons that I think Robbie Anderson could be worth more than a mid-8th round pick, and I think his ceiling is much higher. So these are the reasons that I'll be keeping an eye on Robbie Anderson. Look, I think he's boom bust. I think being the speedy outside guy, the floor is not quite as much there week to week, but we know that the ceiling is. And in the last 3 weeks of the fantasy season, weeks 14 through 16, through your fantasy playoffs, he got 20 catches for 312 yards and 3 touchdowns. He got a touchdown each week. He did not let you down, so keep an eye on Robbie Anderson next season. The next guy on this list, the number 96 overall pick. This is a forgotten guy. The 9th pick in the 8th round, Cooper Kupp. Now, Cooper Kupp is a guy that you absolutely should be watching because when Cooper Kupp was healthy, he was an unbelievably good fantasy weapon. He was, in my opinion, the best wide receiver to have for the Los Angeles Rams. But then he got hurt, and then you can notice, it was very noticeable that the offense for the Rams took a hit. They took a step back, which it never really recovered from. They're in the Super Bowl, yes, but they, on averages across the board, they've taken a slight decline. So clearly, Cooper Kupp is essential in this offense. He's a big part of what they do there. Sean McVay knows how to use him. Jared Goff has great chemistry with him. There's a lot of reasons why I really like Cooper Kupp, and if I can get Cooper Kupp in the 9th, or in the almost 9th round, in the late 8th round, he missed over half the season, and he still finishes the wide receiver 47. I am absolutely going to buy into Cooper Kupp because that is a guy that you know you're going to get a solid floor with a really high ceiling on week to week because he had breakout games, multi-touchdown weeks, and I think that he has that in them as he continues to develop as a player. He should be ready to go for next season. And the final player on my list of guys that I am keeping an eye on this offseason, a really nice mid-round value, especially if you're drafting right now, and this blows my mind. This doesn't make any sense to me at all. So I think that a lot of people are drafting right now are crazy. But yeah, the 116th pick in fantasy drafts right now. Live, actual mock drafts, data being collected from mock drafts. This makes no sense to me. 3rd pick in the 10th round, running back for the Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb. Now, I don't know what people are thinking, or if people are thinking that Carlos Hyde is still a Cleveland Brown, because he's not. He's with the Jags now. But Nick Chubb, I think, absolutely locked down that starting position. He is showing that he has an unbelievable upside in offense that I think showed some serious progression. Freddie Kitchens is back. He's going to be their head coach. He was their temporary OC last season as people got shuffled around, and I thought that Nick Chubb looked really good. Nick Chubb finished as the 15th running back overall, and he didn't even start getting consistent work until week 7. He missed basically half of your fantasy season, and he still finished as the running back 15. He had only one game that in the first 6 weeks that was startable, and then from that point on, he was basically on fire. I really like Nick Chubb. I think that his upside is high with a decent floor. He's going to get a large workload, because who's going to take snaps from him? Duke Johnson? get out of here. So, yeah, Nick Chubb is a guy that I will be monitoring. I expect him to absolutely skyrocket out of the 10th round. I think he'll be a third rounder at the absolute latest by your draft season. But if you're drafting right now, go ahead and grab yourself some Nick Chubb in the 10th round because you will not be regretting that. That is, to me, a second, third round value that you're getting in double-digit rounds. That makes negative sense. I don't know who's drafting right now, but that is just ludicrous. But yeah, with that, I'm going to get out of here. I told you this was going to be a quick show. I'm all by myself. Look, those are 6 names in 5 rounds that I'm watching, and good reasons, I think, to be watching them. Not a lot of news. We'll be back on Friday. I think CJ will be back. Jason might honestly be back as well, so stay tuned. It could be pretty awesome. But we'll be back on Friday for our Super Bowl fantasy prep, our NFL Playoff Challenge fantasy prep for the Super Bowl. Rams and Patriots. Here we go. Super Bowl time, guys. Remember, subscribe wherever you're listening. Rate, review the show. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Fanatics, or you can follow me individually on Twitter. I'm at GPalmerFFF. And make sure you guys leave us a rating and review. So with that, we are out of here. I'm out of here. Everyone take care. Have a great week. We'll see you on Friday. Bye, guys.